I've got a weird habit. Every time I'm near a mower, a buddy's garage, a dealer lot, the row at the hardware store, I crouch down and hunt for the little metal tag, the one that says where the thing was actually born. Not the brand on the hood, the truth stamped on the frame. And after months of doing that, something started to bug me. Most of the American mowers in this country aren't really built here. They show up in boxes, get snapped together on a line, and go home with you wearing a flag on the sticker. So I went looking for the ones that aren't faking it, where raw American steel goes in one door and a finished machine rolls out the other. I found 4. Only 4 that clear that bar. And the brand your granddad swore by, John Deere, isn't one of them. Stick with me because that part trips up almost everybody. One thing worth knowing before we start. Made in USA isn't just a vibe. It's a phrase the Federal Trade Commission actually polices. To use it cleanly, a product is supposed to be all or virtually all built here. A lot of brands tiptoe right up to that line and lean on words like assembled instead. Keep that in your back pocket. Here's my test, and it's tighter than just made in the USA. The company has to start with raw American steel and cut, weld, machine, and finish the mower itself under its own roof, and be doing it right now in 2026, not 5 years ago. Not on one budget model while the rest of the lineup ships in from somewhere else. Now. And before I name the 4, I can already hear the comments loading. You're probably yelling names at the screen. Ferris, Gravely, Hustler, Walker. You're not wrong, those get built in America too. So why aren't they on my list? Because plenty of brands pass part of my test. These 4 pass all of it. That's the whole reason it's a short list and not a longer one. Let me deal with John Deere first, and fairly. 1837, Illinois. A genuine pillar of American industry, no argument there. That little S100 stacked up at the front of Lowe's really is put together in Greenville, Tennessee. Credit where it's due. But here's what nobody at the register mentions. The transaxle turning under that machine comes from Tough Torque, a brand owned by a Japanese parent. Move up Deere's lineup and the parts trail wanders off through Europe, Asia, and more Mexico. That's not me guessing, it's Deere's own paperwork. In 2024, the company cut loose more than 2,000 workers across Iowa and Illinois. Around the same stretch, it confirmed it's pulling skid steer and compact track loader production out of Dubuque and opening a new plant in Ramos Arizpe, Mexico, wrapping up by the end of 2026. So Deere is a deeply American company. But an American company and a mower built from American metal are 2 different sentences. Here's the twist on number 1. You've almost certainly walked right past it. It's sitting in the front aisle at Tractor Supply or Rural King, and your eyes slide off it because the name reads like something off a monster truck flyer. Boy Mowers out of Batesville, Arkansas. Started in 2000, real machines rolling off the line by 2002, and every 0 turn they sell is welded together at that one Arkansas campus. This isn't some boutique outfit either. They've grown past 900 dealers nationwide, and they build subcompact tractors right alongside the mowers. While plenty of brands quietly shipped work offshore, Bad Boy went the other direction. Late 2023, they committed to a new paint plant, a new shipping center, and 300 more jobs in town over 5 years. And remember that metal tag I told you I go hunting for? On a Bad Boy, you flip it over and it says Batesville, Arkansas. Not assembled anything. Not a port city in another country. Right there on the iron. Now let me be straight with you, because this is exactly where these videos get called out. Bad Boy doesn't stamp an unqualified Made in the USA badge on the box, and they shouldn't. The engine up top is a Kawasaki, or a Kohler, and some hardware comes from overseas, same as every machine on this list. But the part that actually defines the mower, the frame, the deck, the fabrication, the final build, that's done in Arkansas, from steel under their own roof. That's the honest version. And it's still light years past snapped together here from a crate of foreign parts. Here's where it lands a punch on the green machine. Walk into that same store with around $4,000 in your pocket. On the Deere side, that price gets you a lawn tractor with a molded plastic hood and a thin stamped deck. Spend the same money on a Bad Boy and you get a fabricated welded steel deck, cut and welded by hand on a full-length welded frame. That's just more steel for the same dollar. The two lines I'd actually look at are the MZ Magnum and the Rebel, opening around 3,500 to 4,500, depending on deck and engine, the value play of the entire list. Number 2 is the opposite problem. You won't spot it at a big box store because it flat refuses to be there. This is the machine the people who mow for a living reach for once they're done burning money on lesser stuff. Exmark. It kicked off in 1982, 7 folks in a shed just outside Beatrice, Nebraska, banging out walk-behinds and turf rakes. Then 1995 hit, and they launched the Laser Z. That mid-mount zero-turn didn't politely join the market. It raised the ceiling. And 30 years on, it still holds the top market share in its class anywhere in the country. Here's the corporate twist that trips people up. The Toro company picked Exmark up back in 1997. And while Toro builds plenty of its other equipment outside the US, with sourcing that reaches into Mexico and beyond, it left the Exmark operation right where it found it. The building never moved. Every Laser Z is still cut, fabricated, and assembled in Beatrice, the same Nebraska town over 40 years later. And like I keep saying, flip one over, and the tag reads Beatrice, Nebraska. Not a port in some other country. You buy it through a certified dealer, not off a big box pallet. On money, that American iron isn't cheap, because real commercial steel never is. The entry Laser Z, the E-Series, opens somewhere around $8,000 to $9,000. And the top shelf X Series, the big deck commercial beast, climbs to $18,000 to $20,000 and up once you load it. For a flat quarter acre, it's total overkill. But once your property runs past an acre and you're done with the buy it, break it, replace it cycle, the one those entry-level box store tractors with the plastic hoods and thin pressed steel decks put you through, this is the rig the pros stop debating and start signing for. It costs more upfront because there's simply more American-made machine underneath you. Now we get to the steel itself. Number 3 is bolted onto more landscaping trailers in this country than just about anything else. And it might be the most no-nonsense American-built mower of the bunch. Scag Power Equipment. Started in 1983. Founded by a real industry name, Dane Scag. From the very first unit, those mowers were fabricated in Mayville, Wisconsin, by a metal shop called Metalcraft of Mayville. And in 1986, Metalcraft bought the whole brand outright. Why does that detail matter so much for this list? Because Metalcraft didn't stumble into lawn care to make a quick buck. They're a serious contract fabrication outfit that's been shaping heavy industrial metal in that Wisconsin town for more than a century, roots going all the way back to 1920. So while big corporate empires went hunting overseas for cheaper labor and outsourced transaxles, Scag had something most mower brands don't: its own steel house. It isn't calling another country for frames and waiting on a boat. It cuts, bends, and welds its own iron across more than 680,000 square feet of Wisconsin shop floor, spread through Mayville, West Bend, and Beaver Dam. That's the exact reason one humble gear drive walk-behind grew into one of the largest independent commercial mower makers on earth. And they put it right on the frame tag: designed, fabricated, and assembled in the USA. On money, this much industrial metal costs a premium. The residential side starts with the Liberty Z, built at a homeowner price, but with that same Scag steel, opening up in the mid $5,000 to $7,000 range depending on deck and engine. Step into the commercial weapons, the Cheetah, the Tiger Cat, the legendary Turf Tiger 2, and you're climbing into the high teens and beyond once they're spec'd out. If Exmark is the dealer-born favorite for everyday crews, Scag is the overbuilt slab of pure American steel that every other machine in the industry gets measured against, while the entry-level box store stuff keeps getting thinner decks and more plastic trim to protect a price point. This Wisconsin machine just stays heavy. But even Scag starts with steel somebody else poured. The last name on this list goes a step deeper, and it comes out of a Kansas town so small you'd blink driving straight through it. Number 4 is where I genuinely raised an eyebrow. Moundridge, Kansas, under 2,000 people. And the company there, Grasshopper, doesn't just assemble American mowers. It builds them from the raw metal bar up, start to finish, under one roof. The bones go back to 1958, when the Deere family started mowerage manufacturing. The Grasshopper name showed up in 1969 with what's widely credited as the first genuinely practical zero-turn mower ever sold in America. And the industry firsts kept coming out of that tiny shop. dual swing-out control levers in 1973, a liquid-cooled diesel zero-turn in the early 80s, and that slick electric power fold deck that tilts up at the flip of a switch back in 2004. Inside a plant north of 300,000 square feet, industrial lasers, press brakes, robotic welders, and CNC machines turn American steel into nearly every component on the machine. Nothing's unpacked from a crate of global imports. It's cut and formed right there on the Kansas floor. And before any grasshopper leaves the building, an actual person fires it up and runs it. Here's the line that honestly sold me. Grasshopper machines have kept the White House grounds mowed, raked of leaves, and plowed of snow since 2003. In 2017, this tiny family-owned outfit got picked to represent the entire state of Kansas at the Made in America showcase. And in a US and Canada dealer survey, the dealers themselves ranked Grasshopper #1 in the category, with top marks for build quality and support. On money, this kind of multi-generational family iron is an investment, not an impulse buy. Residential models run up into the high single-digit thousands, and the heavy front-mount diesels climb past $20,000. Where an entry-level box store mower leans on plastic to look premium, Grasshopper skips the cosmetics entirely. It's powder-coated fabricated steel, built like the commercial unit it actually is. So after all that crouching and squinting at metal tags, here's exactly where I landed. 4 distinct states, 4 proud families, 4 real factories, and not a single drop of green paint among them. Want the friendliest entry price? Look at Bad Boy out of Arkansas. Serious ground to clear? Look at Zark out of Nebraska. The heaviest industrial steel on earth? Look at Scag out of Wisconsin. Raw metal, one small town, White House worthy. Look at Grasshopper out of Kansas. Prices swing by deck and engine, so treat mine as ballparks. Tell me your lot size below and hit subscribe.